Good evening, and welcome to another episode of Schnozzcast. Your host for tonight, Bob, Nick, and Todd. Corey's on a special assignment. Tonight, for you, we have a little gentleman's agreement, Nick's existential question of the week, and some other stuff. We'll figure it out. Gentlemen.
Sounds about right.
Todd, Nick, how are you?
Doing well. How are you?
Excellent, sir. Good to be back again. Todd Dillon, how are you, sir?
I'm incredible, sir.
You know, when people ask me, how's that Todd Dillon doing?
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, you know what? He's incredible. Just incredible.
I always say stupendous or he's mighty. That's what I say.
I was told I couldn't say that anymore.
No, but
that was my jam.
But I know you, Todd Dillon, and the Todd Dillon I know would be told that he couldn't say it anymore, and he'd let it go for a little bit, but then he'd come back strong. I'm double mighty, bitches.
I'm being repressed.
We tried.
Help.
We tried making it obvious that he shouldn't be saying at the end of the day anymore, and it's almost like he says it more now.
See? That's the Todd Dillon I'm talking about.
Exactly.
Leans into it.
Leans right into it.
All right, if you're new to the show, you can find recent episodes, 240 of them at least.
Yeah, old ones too.
Yeah, 6 of which are at least worth listening to. Out on any of the streaming services, anywhere where you get a podcast. I was told by Corey to stop naming those places. You'll know where to go.
Wow. All right.
And you can also follow us on...
What if you don't?
Because they're going to be here and here and here.
Yeah, basically everywhere, any conceivable place where you can get a podcast, you can find us. Even stuff that I'd never heard of until like a week ago. It's there.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's intense.
Look, I don't make the rules up. This is the internet. It's the Wild Wild West. Anything goes. It's the law of the West, they say. You can also follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube at Schnozzcast.
Mm-hmm.
And you should be able to see the screen. And Jesus Christ, if you search for us and you found us here, you know how to spell it. But you can also email us at schnozzcast@gmail.com, or you can call or text us anytime, day or night, at 618-SHOCKER.
On the shocker line, baby.
Shocker.
Todd was coming out with a gigantic belch. It started with this low bass rumble.
Yeah.
Shocker.
On the shocker line, baby.
That's what I'm talking about.
Todd, how are you, buddy?
Incredibly.
Yeah, I heard that, but
I'm mighty.
we
Throw me a biscuit.
See what happens?
Yeah,
Do you see what happens?
I did. I wound him up, and that Todd started clapping those cymbals together.
Dylan Collins just wanted to say that anyone with Dylan in their name is always fantastic.
A-okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
Always.
That's what I'm talking about, Dylan. You know it.
Now, if Dylan Collins plays his cards right, I'll get him a shirt just like I got Todd Dillon a shirt, even though the spelling is different, that says what Todd's shirt, which is Dylan, you son of a bitch.
Wow.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah.
Was that the painted on shirt you were wearing in Tawas?
It was.
Okay.
No, that one wasn't painted on.
I feel like you had to back up and inhale to show us what the shirt had said, and I didn't know what I wasn't paying any attention. I was too excited about being in Tawas, but I didn't know. So that was that shirt.
That was that shirt. Yep. Direct Predator quote.
Well, he's also used to a higher altitude in Seattle, so there's going to be some inflating when you come to Michigan. So,
But
Yeah.
he was sucking in all that great Michigan
I'm going to wear it
air.
next week. I'm going to wear it on the show next week.
Are you?
you're showing up to my house next week?
Yep.
Oh my God.
Yep.
So, you know, there's hundreds of thousands of people who watch this show every week, and they probably heard that we were going to get together with Todd Dillon up in Tawas. Todd lives on the other side of the country, and we feel his presence weekly, if not daily. But we actually were graced with the physical presence of Todd Dillon for 2 whole days.
Yeah.
And it was incredible. I should say.
Incredible.
I had a blast. I had a blast.
No, dude. If any, the only takeaway, the only thing that I would change about the trip, and I will say, and I know you're thick-skinned, so this is not going to upset you, but
Oh, boy.
is that we wish you were there longer.
Oh, yeah.
That's
Todd's
and
probably
honestly,
thinking I was there too long.
No,
I wish I could have left the day
Exactly.
before.
in all honesty, I was like, man, I was just starting to get to the point where I was like, God, I really am taller than all these people. And then you're gone. Just in the middle of the night, you're gone.
Exactly.
That's how it was. And you know what?
Yep.
And Todd, I will say this, and we haven't spoken since that point, but I will say this: I'm a little upset about the way it ended. It was like Santa Claus. You were there one moment and then you were gone. I didn't get a chance to say goodbye. There was no see you later, not even good night. It was.
Haven't you heard of an Irish exit?
What?
No, it wasn't an Irish exit. He tried.
I was sitting here with my good friend Todd.
Yeah.
With the warming glow of pure Michigan cedar crackling on the fire and cold sand surrounding my feet while the waves just lapped in behind me, and just a smile and warming glow from Todd's face as we were both kicking back shots of Crown Apple, just having a great time. I made the mistake to go take a piss. And just as soon as God put him on our doorstep, he took him away. He was gone. That was it. That was the last time I saw him. I was like, okay, well, I'll see him in maybe tomorrow morning. We'll all say our goodbyes. Nope. Gone. Completely gone. Out of the state. Out of my life for the next year. I'm like, wow, this is fucking fantastic.
Hold on. I know you well enough to know that even if he had come around banging on doors.
I was up early having coffee that day.
You were not.
Yes,
What do you call early? Noon?
Wasn't that the day that you guys went fiddle fucking around in town and all that crap?
Yeah, I mean that you should probably define that because it makes it sound like a sex thing. But yeah.
I mean, I don't know what goes on in town, but
stays in town.
I was sitting there. It was kind of a dreary day, almost as if all the angels in heaven were also sad that Todd was leaving.
Yes.
And I was sipping on some coffee, and I'm like, I wanted to be up nice and early today so I could say goodbye to my friend. And nope, he was already at DTW catching a flight. So, but yeah, so Todd, I wanted to apologize. I didn't know from what I heard and things that won't be disclosed on the show, you were whisked away at night, and I know that the good friend that you are, had that not occurred, you would have said some goodbyes, and if I don't talk to you in the morning, and some thug hugs, we would have had some of those, some little bro love hugs, a little pat on the back. Something would have happened. I don't feel that's the way you wanted to leave things.
No, but it was still perfect.
Was it?
It's a great story, isn't it?
No, but it was perfect.
We'll be telling this story on episode 947.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
At least until the next.
Remember the time?
It was like Bob one night at the bar when he had he was going elbow deep into a giant cereal bowl of ranch with French fries, and I turned around and he was gone. And it was actually on St. Patrick's Day.
I mean, if you're going to Irish exit, what better day than St. Patty's Day?
But I know I would see him again. Like, if I just called him in like 3 days and was like, yeah, let's go up and have beer, I would have seen him again. That magic is gone. That's gone. One of us is going to have to die for you to come back. So
hold on.
What are you talking about? I'll be back in a couple weeks.
Yeah. I think what he's not telling us is that whilst we were enjoying the surf and the sand, he was off trying to buy a second home in Tawas, and now he owns property up there.
Yeah. Yeah. Next year, you guys will be staying at my 3,000 acre
chalet.
Property.
Yep.
My chalet.
Hey, make sure you draw the blinds when you leave.
Feed the chickens.
No, dude. So it was a really good time. We made the best with what we were given. It was, I don't even want to say it was the worst weather like we've had ever going up there. It is what it is. There's nothing you can do about that. But we certainly had a few days in the sun. They had
the
more
days
than
I was there.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah. I mean, it was a little breezy on the river that day, and there was a little overcast. You know, we're used to bright, sunny days, but we made the best of it.
You guys get soft.
It was a super soft trip, that's for sure.
It was a super soft trip.
Yeah, but the one time we got under the river was when you were there, and that was the important thing.
That is what made it for me, because I'm like, dude, if we had just said, you know what, we just got here, let's not do, and we had to do. I know we had to do it that day, but I guess I never put it in perspective because I didn't really know the day he was leaving, like the intimate details of that. But all I can say is I'm super glad that you were able to come out, because I feel like you were very unsure. Now, I wouldn't even say hesitant, but you were just unsure. You were like, I don't know how this is going to go. And
I normally don't stay in small cabiny things. That's again, I was a little bit concerned about the Paradise. And by the way, what's the name of the place again?
Paradise Beach.
Paradise Beach.
Paradise
Resort.
Beach.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
If I can say one thing, what an amazing setup! I would highly recommend it, because that was my only real hesitance. Again, remember I grew up in Michigan, and so I'm familiar with many of those haunts. Been there. I remember when that was a one light town, and so it was cool to be back. The hesitance was, though, again, I'm a bit bougie these days, and so slumming it at the Paradise Beach, I was a little bit skeptical. I'm like, because actually the rates, when I told people how much I paid a night, they're like, really? In Seattle, it'd be like $400 a night. So it was, but it was such a pleasant surprise.
You didn't have a bidet in the room. There were no butlers.
No carport. I didn't have the creature comforts, but they took care of me. I felt at home. They did a really good job. What a great place. I told Mary, I said, we should come back when we come back together to Michigan the next time, when we stay for a week. We should actually go up there and give them some business, because they run a great setup. Paradise Beach is someplace you should stay. You should go to Tawas, Michigan, East Tawas. If you haven't been up there, it is amazing. Having lived on both oceans, you lose sight of the fact that you're not on an ocean, because Lake Huron is so big and so wonderful. And so I had a blast. I didn't leave the way that I would have wanted to, but I left the way that's going to make for a great story one day. So I don't mind any of that at all. And I think I stayed the perfect time, right? I mean, if you guys missed me a little bit, then it's perfect, because if I'd stayed and you guys are like, can't wait for this motherfucker to leave, especially I mean, Corey's not here for me to apologize, but it was kind of funny. I told Mary the story of when we stopped at Northwoods to go shopping on the way.
Oh yeah.
And I go and I told Mary, I feel really bad, because Nick is like the peacemaker, kind of get everybody going in the same direction. And Nick put his arm around me to try and like pull me into the flock to go in and indulge Corey. And I like put on the frick, and I'm like, dude, I'm a grown man. I'm gonna go listen to a book and not waste 4 seconds of my life in a store I don't want to be in.
I didn't know I did not know the levity of that situation. Like I thought this was like a comedic feet in the sand. Like, oh, it's a ball busting Corey, and you're like, listen, I can make my own fucking decisions. I'm like, well, okay, I guess he's serious.
Exactly.
Not going in.
Here's the thing. I don't shop. So, because Mary's like, you went shopping? I'm like, no. I go, literally, people thought that I would actually walk into a store. I'm like, that is so counter to my personality. And I'm like, there's nothing, it doesn't work. And so I'm like, no, I'm not doing that. And I didn't mean to be a dick. And I told Mary, I'm like, she's like, yeah, they don't know you like I do.
No, yeah, I had no clue. And also, I'm not, I do not fucking shop. Everything I get is online. And, but Corey, that fucking charming bastard, he's just kind of reeled us into where we're like, all right, this is one of our stops.
Hold on a minute. I wouldn't say reeled us in.
We don't have to stop there.
Right. And I think every year we talk about how can we get out of this.
We stopped there because of him. And you and Lori are to the point where you're like, look at this.
Oh, they got
shoes.
Yeah.
They got shoes.
I legitimately needed something. So I went in. But look, no matter who you are, you whatever kind of town you live in, big town, small town, everyone has been on some sort of a travel trip where you've run past little mom and pop stores, little shops for trinkets and trash. Some people really love that stuff, and others
like
could take it or leave it.
Exactly. Hey, Bob, too. And I did feel really bad, by the way. And it's funny that Nick stepped away.
Why would you feel bad?
Because here's the thing.
Yeah.
After I dug in, I told Mary I was still on the group text thread when Nick decided not to go for his, as he titled, fiddle fucking in town the day after I left, or the day that I left.
Right.
I'm like, oh no, Mary, I think I've started a problem. She goes, what's that? I go, these dumbasses all stop to indulge Corey at Northwoods, and they all do all the things that he wants to do, no matter how stupid they are. I go, and then finally someone comes along and says, no, I'm not doing that. And now Nick is saying no. I go, I think I've broken their little commune.
You've poisoned them. Poisoned them against Corey, I say.
I was the original. I'm the apple.
No. You're not the alpha.
I'm the apple that fell off the tree. I ruined the Garden of Eden for you guys. No, you guys all went along. You're all happy doing things you didn't like to do. Oh, it took me 4 years to get used to going to Northwoods.
You're being way too hard on yourself. Way too hard on yourself. So the thing to remember
started a trend.
Look. Yeah, you're giving yourself, first of all, you're being too hard on yourself. And secondly, you're also giving yourself way too much credit. You did not start a trend. But everyone who's been on a trip, doesn't matter where, with a friend who doesn't quite have the same outlook on life that you do, the same habits, the same quirks, the same issues. You know, everybody's got issues. Their issues are just a little bit different than your issues. When you go on a travel trip with that person, you have to learn how to coexist. Otherwise, you're going to be mad at each other the entire time because you don't like the way that they spin the toilet paper on the roll, and they don't like the way that you squeeze the toothpaste from the bottom instead of from the top. So you're going to have to figure it out. In this particular case, this was a family trip that Corey's family went to Tawas back when he was a kid. And when he met his better half, they wanted to start, sort of rekindle that tradition. And he wanted to go back up there, and he invited us to join him there. He didn't have to do that. So I've always kind of felt a little bit of an obligation, shall we say, to entertain his, baser instincts where he likes to stop 6 times on the way from point A to point B. He likes to go into town and fiddle fuck around and look at trinkets and trash shops. And, it's the 1 week of the year that I get to spend with my friend and his wife, where we're on vacation. So as long as you drive separately and you can leave whenever you want, that's fine.
That's the important part, is to know that you can leave at any given point in time.
Yeah.
That's the good part.
It's the being stuck in a car with the same guy who wants to fiddle fuck around with trinkets and trash, and it takes you 6 hours to get to a location that's only 4 hours away, and you can't escape. That's when you're like, I think I might just open the door and throw myself out into traffic.
I would be at the same point Todd's at if he wanted to do all the little, Frankenmuth and like 15 stops on the way of little shopping. I'd be like, nope, I'll meet you up there.
Yeah.
Hey, by the way, though, you guys think about this too, though. One of the other reasons why I dug in, probably again, it's innate to me, but I wasn't trying to make a point. It's just innate because I don't like to shop. But the other thing was, I knew how much time I had with you guys, and to waste it in a place that I was only going to be unhappy and not pleasant to be around if I did do it.
Yeah.
That's why Mary doesn't drag me into store shopping anymore, because she knows if she makes me go into a store there, she's like, I'm going to need your help lifting something. The gas face comes on like a 5-year-old, and I'm like, she's like and with the feet dragging by the toes, she's like dragging me through the store. I'm like, I go into I don't shop just online. I buy at brick and mortar stores, but I go and get exactly what I want, and I don't drift about aimlessly. So it's counter to who I am. And but I thought, again, I was very, very in tune to how much time I had with you guys. And so, although I did like seeing the Heartbuster special at Tony's. Again, shout out to Tony's. Anybody in Michigan should make their way to Tony's for a heart attack. Birch St. Louis, and the other one's in Saginaw.
Okay.
Todd, if you got a shot, grab one.
Got one
real quick.
I know pumpkin.
What are you drinking, Todd?
Little Crown Apple. Thank you, and Nick. Thank you so much for hooking me up in Tawas.
Yeah, man. Of course. Cheers.
Cheers.
Salute.
Everybody.
I think one of the best moments was, and I'll just paint a picture for people that don't know. So, Todd had not been in a kayak before. We had some vehicle issues. We had some people bow out at the last minute, and we had to do a little little musical chairs with the cars. But as a result, we couldn't take my second kayak for Todd. So we said, well, we'll rent one, at the delivery that's in town. We didn't end up doing that because we noticed that the place we were staying at, one of the amenities that they offer, and it is such a humble place. Todd's so nice to say what he said, but very true. I think the first year when you go there, you're like, really? These are like 1940s, like wood veneer cabins, like with shellac on the wood and, very basic amenities, but it's got kind of a humble aspect to it. And it's not even that, it's the people. The people that we meet there every year, everyone's so nice.
Everyone's nice. Yeah,
the staff is nice. Free wood, all this. It's ridiculous. But anyhow, so one of the things that they offer now is they have a couple kayaks that you can rent, and so we didn't kind of realize that they were 9-foot kayaks instead of 10.5. And if you're a grown man, that makes a big difference because surface area on the water, you're spreading your weight out further and further. So the longer the kayak gets. So we didn't realize that. So Todd gets in the 9-foot and was very upside down turtly, and like, whoa, like what the fuck is going on? Why am I? And we couldn't really, kind of bridge the gap to like, well, maybe he's just, super paranoid about kayaks. And I'm like, no. It's got to be the fact that it's a 9-foot, So we initially said, well, why doesn't he try someone else's? I said, listen, I'm more than happy if he jumps in mine. I got no problem with it. I'm comfortable with kayaks. And I think it was you at the last minute. You were like, well, why don't he just use Joe's? It looks a little it looks a little wider. And Joe's, I don't care, So he hops in Joe's.
Thank you, Joe.
Yep. He hops in Joe's, and that was a good move just to get him out of that little kayak, And I wanted it to be a great experience. The last thing I wanted was, the way you're talking about Northwoods to be the way you're talking about kayaking. And I did not want that head like, whoa, fuck that. I'm never getting in a kayak again. I almost fucking killed myself in that fucking thing, And so I'm like, we're going to make this work, And so he jumps in and finally gets his sea legs a little bit and is like, all right, he's kind of got this smile on his face. He's like, I think I can do this. And I'm like, let's all do a shot. And so Corey first, and I knew what I had when we stopped at the store. I grabbed 2 shooters of Crown Apple.
That was so fucking awesome, dude.
Amongst the basically as Todd would probably compare it to river water fucking granddad's apple pie or whatever the fuck it was. Oh, McGillicuddy's.
Daniel.
Oh my God, is that horrible?
McGillicuddy's.
Oh my God, is that horrible?
So we love the McGillicuddy's apple pie.
It's for people who love high fructose corn syrup. It's very sweet.
We tolerate Fireball, but even us, like, we do Fireball all the time, and even at a certain point, we're like, it's not our favorite thing. Shots are never your favorite thing. And so I remember from the day prior, we tried, peddling our wares of Fireball and Dr. McGillicuddy's to him, and he's like, listen, it's basically like drinking alcoholic syrup. It is fucking disgusting. I don't like it.
Yep.
And the little bit I know about Todd, he was not my friend growing up. I didn't go to college with him. The little I know about him just from the podcast is I know he likes Crown Apple. I'm like, okay, well, this will work. And we just happened to go to a river liquor store, which is awesome, that has a whole pigeonhole wall of shooters of any liquor you can think of. Like, more shooters than I've ever seen in any liquor store. And so I'm like,
I didn't even notice.
They do love to drink up in Taos.
Oh my God. You have to.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, let me just throw 2 of these in. Todd makes really good money. He's well off. He's a grown man. If he wants to buy his own booze, he is fully capable of doing so, and he didn't do it. So I'm like, well, maybe he doesn't.
Maybe he's not a grown man.
No, maybe
Exactly.
he's got his reasons. He doesn't want to
give me your pin. What's your pin number, Nick?
He doesn't want to feel tired tomorrow. You never know. But as his friend, I can supersede that and say, that's too fucking bad. You're from a fraternity. You have brothers, and sometimes they make decisions for you. And I made the decision that he was going to have at least 2 shots of Crown Apple on the river and suck it up, Buttercup. So we got out there, which he didn't know about, and he finally found his balance. And you could see this frown slowly turning upside down. And he was like, okay.
I never had a frown.
It was like this.
Right, as soon as you got into your kayak, not Joe's, the very first time,
but why? Because I was I wasn't worried about going into the water as much as getting your cooler down the river and all the beer spilling out. That was my primary concern.
Okay,
can we agree on that? I mean, because I feel like I'm being painted into this like.
Hey, this is calling like we see him, Todd.
No. So to be completely accurate, you couple the all the little mini stops, and I didn't really piece everything together. That Todd had a ticking time bomb, and it was slowly the sands of time where he did not have a lot of time.
Yeah,
and he was getting super irritated. Like he was the. He kind of metamorphosed into what we all feel with Corey all the time, but like instantly. He was like, is this what you guys do like all the time? What the fuck? Let's get to the river. Like why?
Nick,
why?
What time was at your house? What time was at your house?
Right at fucking 9:45, and we were on the road at 10:01. when you were supposed to be at my house at 10.
This is the thing that and again,
I'm an execution machine.
We're talking about Todd specifically, but this is a good a general observation about think about if you're listening to the show and think about your best friend. Is your best friend like you? Are you the type of person that likes to be prompt, likes to be on time, hates to be late, and your friend is always late? Always habitually late.
Exactly.
Or flip those roles. Are you the late one and your friend's always giving you shit because you're never on time?
And you hate him.
Yeah. In this case, Todd is like you. Todd hates to be late. Todd can't understand why we can't be on time. And at every turn, there were delays.
Well, because in our mind, we were like, oh, we just got this trip started. In his mind, he's like, I have like 31 hours and I have to go. Yeah.
That's our lives, right?
What are you idiots doing?
Not for nothing. What the
fuck are you
That's our lives. That is our lives, man. That's that you just hit the golden nugget, man. That's our lives. Tomorrow's not promised to anybody, man. If you're not freaking executing on shit that you like doing, then don't be doing it.
Here's the brick wall that you ran into. Corey Selesky doesn't give 2 shits about your 31 hours.
No, that's perfect though. But that's perfect.
He can do that. He wants his experience.
He can do it.
It doesn't matter what you think about it. He's going to have his experience.
But while he's walking through the store, do you have your finger up his ass? I mean, ultimately, I'm not hating on him if that's what he.
If you were in the store, you would have seen. But I guess you'll have to imagine it now. But
I was listening to Atomic Habits. Highly recommend it. Anyway,
so the funny thing was so when we circle back, and the reason for all this editorializing was because of Todd said I wasn't upset, I wasn't mad. No, he wasn't, but all of these little stops built up, and the anxiety from, is this kayak thing going to work out? So he kind of had like a very serious kind of gas face, like okay, if this is just this if this doesn't work, then this is going to be this was all for nothing, kind of thing. And then it finally worked, and that frown went upside down real quick, and he's like, all right, I think I can fucking do this. And so we're like,
I can do it.
Perfect. And by the way, the next time your friend says 3 times that flew fucking 3,000 miles to come over and you loan him your fucking bullshit $15 cooler from 20 years ago, and the only concern he has is dumping your cooler, could you please tell him I don't give a fuck if you light that cooler on fire? We just want you to be all right. Because he was trying to give you an olive branch like 3 times, like, the only thing I'm worried about is this cooler. And you're like, yep.
No, it was the
you never refuted it. You never argued it.
You know why?
You were like,
why?
My father gave me that cooler. You should be upset about it. That fucking cloth cooler that you loaned him. Who cares about that?
Nobody cares about that. He's worried about the beer in the cooler, as he should have. He didn't give a shit about the cooler.
It was the beer and the cooler.
He's like, I could buy you 45 of these coolers in the next 10 minutes.
He was like this.
Just with the money in my wallet.
He goes, no, I really don't care. He was very selfless. He goes, I don't care about myself. I don't care. I just want to make sure Bob has done a nice thing and loaned me his cooler. I want to make sure the cooler is okay.
I did.
And Bob was like, uh-huh. There was no like, don't worry about the cooler, buddy. We've got plenty of beer. Don't even fucking think about it.
He's not worried about my cooler.
I was.
No,
I
worried about his
it was the number one thing.
Yes, he was.
The beer was a number
He
one.
was worried about the cooler more than himself.
If Todd was in that kayak and he was like, and right before he flipped, that cooler flipped up in the air, and Todd, being quick, grabbed the cooler with one hand, unzipped it, pulled all the beer out, and stuck it right in his life jacket, and then that cooler went down the river and was never seen again. Everything would be just fine.
Untrue.
He captured every one of those beers.
He didn't say
untrue.
Listen, we were loaded. We were loaded for bear with all the booze you could possibly think of. He was not concerned about the booze. He kept saying three times.
Christ, he knew that this was like a spare cooler. I don't give a shit about it. I don't expect Todd to give a shit about it.
You did not squash any of his fears like one time. You were like, yep,
guys.
That's because
it was almost like
we're men.
As you should.
We're men.
As you should.
You better squash Todd's fears.
You better go off a waterfall trying to save that fucking cooler.
Men don't need their fears squashed. You could quote me on that, sir.
Yes, Todd.
You know what friends don't do?
I can't wait to hear.
Friends go out of their way to do the right thing. And again, I that was my number one concern. Like I said, I've been around the water. I swim. I have my advanced life saving. I've had that certificate. I'm comfortable around water. I didn't want to ruin the day by ruining my guys' stuff. And I don't care if it's your third or fourth or a spare cooler. It's yours. You lent it to me, so I now own that. I own taking care of it.
Todd,
I don't go around shitting on people's stuff if they loan me. Ultimately, so if you loan me your kayak and I just rammed into the rocks because I'm like, hey, I'm feeling really comfortable, I'm just going to bash this thing in the rocks, you'd be bummed. I take care of people's stuff the way that I like my stuff taken care of if I loaned it to you.
Listen here, Todd. Listen.
That's how I feel about it.
Looky here. I elbowed the fuck out of Corey's brand new $500 GoPro into the water. And it didn't take me more than a shot. Didn't take me more than a shot to get over that. So that cooler
is not a
dick. But anyhow, so I digress. To come full circle, he finally had a little smile on his face. I said, let's all do a shot. Corey tried peddling him some Fireball. No, I don't want that. Apparently, Corey's mind was like an Etch-a-Sketch. Didn't remember the day before. We tried to give him Fireball, and he didn't like it.
Nick.
Danielle's like, well, we have Dr. McGillicuddy. He's like, I don't like it. I'm like, money. There you go. And he's like, no, I don't want. And he's like, oh! And he looks in his hands, and it's fucking Crown Apple.
Nick.
Yes, sir.
You glossed right over one thing I'd like you to pick out of this whole thing. Do you remember when my frown turned upside down?
Yeah.
Do you remember the dorky statement that I made to you about as to why? Like I had been like, I'm like, I have arrived. Do you remember what I said to you?
No, I don't.
Because of the book I was reading, when you knuckleheads were shopping for whatever the fuck you were in Northwoods, and I was listening to Atomic Habits. I was amazed. I was amazed at how fast. Once I kind of figured out what's going on, like the brain, the power of the brain is so amazing, people.
Yeah,
I hadn't kayaked before. I was off balance, but like within minutes, my body, once I figured it out, it had been like I'd been kayaking like 87 times. I remember kind of showing off and paddling upstream and like aiming at people. I was showing off like look at Bob's face. Don't make that face, mofo. But the first thing I said to Nick is I go, the brain is amazing.
All I heard was the power of the brain is amazing.
He goes, yeah, the brain's amazing.
I mastered kayaking immediately.
I did.
Like,
Listen.
Come on.
Let's make things clear for the audience. He's playing a little fast and loose with the phrase, the book I was reading, because when I walked up to his car, some man was reading the book to him over his speakers in his car.
I think it was his name.
His name is Rupert.
So reading might be a little wishy-washy in this story.
Consuming knowledge then. How about that?
If the brain was such a wonderful thing, you would probably be actually reading. So
Yep.
Can't read and drive, bro. Against the law.
You weren't driving. You were sitting in a parking lot.
Yeah, but look at all the reading I got done while we were driving down the highway.
That is true. In between dick jokes over the CB radio.
Exactly. I did. By the way, guys, I will say that.
Yeah.
That part, keep that. The walkie-talkies in each car and the burble along the way is fun as shit. That I did chuckle because Mary and I have walkie-talkies and we never use them because just Mary and I. And best I can say is she's never out of my sight really. So
that would be weird.
You should use that as an excuse to drive separately.
Yeah, what does she do? Run out to the chicken
Put her
coop?
in the other car and give her the thing and go, Mary, I want to try out these CB radios.
Exactly.
Mary, when you go on the back 40 for your hike, go ahead and take one of these.
Yes. Yes. Go on. Describe the throuple.
I will say that
in great detail.
I will say the saltiest thing Todd said to me on the trip was, Nick, mind the gap.
I did. I'm like,
this motherfucker.
What is he doing?
This is when Bob got to like the 3/4 mark of the trip, and he decided either one, hey, look, I need to get there and get a beer in my system because I've heard every story Lori could possibly tell me right now, or two, I finally know where I'm at, and I don't need you motherfuckers. Because Bob flew off like a bat out of hell, past everybody, and was going about 68 in a 50. And...
Well...
yes.
Look, I was just going with the flow of traffic, my friend.
Were you?
Yeah.
Okay. Because I had
the car that was way in front of me, I could tell they were going 68 as well. So I'm like, I'm just keeping up with that guy.
Yeah. Dude, I saw like billows of fucking dust and smoke at one point, and I thought that maybe Bob's car had gone off the road, like it hit a tree or something. But it was because we were on a 2-lane road, 50 in each direction, and someone wanted to turn into one of their cottages. And Bob wasn't having that, so he flew off into the gravel shoulder at 68 miles an hour to pass this without even a thought in his mind. Like, just gravel flew into the air. And it's just
but you weren't anywhere behind me.
What the fuck is he doing?
I didn't have anything to worry about.
And I'm like, dude, this guy really, really, really wants to get somewhere. And so at this point, somebody
was I that clearly like?
Dude, you fucking gunned it.
Look, Todd only had 31 hours, I've heard. So I didn't want to waste any time.
He wasn't in your car.
Yeah, but he was on the way. He was in the caravan.
I was in tune.
I was blazing the trail.
Because it actually sucked to be in the trail position for me, and I was like, "Let's make this happen."
Dude,
I was on number one tail the whole time.
Thank you.
I'm not worried about Corey. I know they sightsee and all that crap, but I'm like, okay, I'm only going to do 5 over. I'm in someone else's car. I don't want to get stopped. This doesn't make any sense. I'm going to put on the speedometer. You know, there's a lot of wildlife up here. I don't want to fucking run into a possum or a deer or something in someone else's car. Brand new vehicle.
You're getting soft.
Yeah. So listen.
It was a super soft trip, as we
I'm
said.
sorry.
I want to come over there and hug you.
You didn't want to get someone's $5 20-year-old cooler wet. And I'm in a fucking $38,000 brand new vehicle that I don't want to fucking smash up.
That wasn't yours.
I think you can
They have
understand.
insurance.
They got
that cooler wasn't insured.
I think you can understand.
Hold on a minute. I insure every little tiny bit. Your life jacket was insured. That guy, we didn't lose that.
But yeah, that was so at some point somebody pulled out of their cottage in between me and Bob, and I had the 3 people behind me. I had Todd and Corey and Danielle. And they were very Sunday drivers, and they were probably going 45. And I'm like, dude, come on. And there was just, pass with care, but there were just people on the left. Finally, Todd's like, Nick, mind the gap. I'm like, okay, all right. Well, I guess we're going to have to risk our lives to catch up with Bob and Lori.
Yeah.
So I fucking went 78 miles an hour to fucking pass this person.
Yeah, that's how passing works. You got to go faster than the other car.
He was right on your ass, Nick.
I'm like, all right, you want to call my bluff? Here you go, buddy.
I love that part of the trip. Again, I was like a 12-year-old kid coming back from camp. When I came home, I told Mary, I'm like, these dudes are crazy. They all bitch about each other, but they all love each other. They all do all this stupid shit, and they indulge each other even though they're miserable. And I'm like, I just tell people how it is. I'm not going to fucking store. I don't shop. And I'm like, and I go, I think I broke things. Like literally, I gave Mary like
their spirit.
Exact. I'm like, oh no, I pushed back, and now Nick felt free to push back. I go, I think I've broken their system.
This is.
I had a blast.
We had a blast too, my friend. The only thing I remember from you leaving, other than walking you back to the cabin the night before,
other than an empty room that he used to be in.
Wait. And so again, I'm not gonna speak out of school, and I hope that he's listening. Here's the one thing that is true about Todd Dillon, no matter what. Everybody I meet is a friend and a neighbor, and I try and look out for them. And when I spot people who might be trying to take advantage of or think that I might, I'm a mean mama bear. I protect my friends. I protect my friends' belongings. I take it seriously. And so, again, I got it. The way that it all ended, just so that everybody knows, is I got a little bit suspicious of someone. And again, I apologize if I offended, but I will never ever apologize for protecting people who are close to me. And if these guys don't know that they're close to me and I wouldn't do anything to protect them from everything in the world, then they don't know me.
Todd, it was literally, I didn't feel like it was at that level yet, but I don't know you as well. And, last I remember, I surprised you with a freezing cold pint of Crown Apple.
Yeah, are you supposed to drink Crown Apple freezing cold?
He did that day.
Absolutely, I do. Absolutely, I keep it in the freezer. I keep it in the freezer.
We freeze Fireball because otherwise you take a shot and you want to kill yourself. But Crown Royal is closer to real whiskey, like good whiskey.
No, Bob.
Dude,
it's not that. It's
so
not
let
that
me
close.
hold on. Let me fix this for everybody.
Yeah, please.
Because I think, Bob, you're going down a road so far off the path of wrong.
All right, bring me home, brother.
Crown Apple is the cheapest rot gut that I can do my way with to actually do shots of. I have acquired a taste for finer alcohols, and I don't do shots of them. So Crown Apple is like the Crown Apple, Crown Peach, Crown Vanilla, any of those things.
Oh, wait,
it's not just
there's a vanilla?
Sugar. There is.
Gross.
Dude, I might have to.
But anyway,
dude,
that's my
Crown Vanilla and Coke? Oh, my God.
Anyway, if you have to mix it with something, or if you would mix it with something, it's not worth drinking, in my opinion. But that's why I drink Crown Apple, not because and the other thing is my in-laws, my wife's parents, were big Crown fans, and so in reverence to my in-laws and my elders, Crown has got a special place, even though I don't believe Canadian whiskey to be superior to much.
Right.
But they do, again, if I'm going to do a shot, other than one of the puckers, I think Crown Apple and the Crown family does a great job of producing shot liquor. And hopefully I didn't disparage the Crown Royal family.
No, so two things. Yeah. I'm not a whiskey drinker, but I know whiskey is like wine and cigars, and it can be appreciated over the years and different
there's so many different types.
And fruit notes and all this other stuff. If you are adding manufactured apple or peach taste to a whiskey, I'm pretty sure it needs to be cold. Nobody's going.
Agree.
Nobody's going, hey, I got a 1985 Crown Apple downstairs in the cellar that we're going to pour over some ice and really smell for a little bit and then have a couple sips out of a snifter later on tonight. No one's doing that with Crown Apple. Now, someone might be doing that with a good whiskey or a scotch, but I think if you're adding flavor to liquor, it needs to be fucking cold.
Yeah, and the other thing too is, and by the way, the main reason I don't drink Jim Apple.
Yeah.
Sorry, Bob. The main reason I don't drink Jim Beam because I'm not a hater. But when I was on a golf trip, I made the mistake of buying a half pint or a pint of Jim Apple to take on the golf course while we were golfing in South Carolina, and I didn't think to Nick's point, I didn't think to throw it into the freezer like I do my Crown Apple because I don't drink it. I'm like, Jim Beam, they make. I've had that before. I like Jim and a Coke.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
But having it warm was so miserable. And every time we'd get back after we'd play golf, we'd come back to the condo that we'd rented, and they'd like, hey, shots. And I'm like, no, I can't do it. Because I had it warm once. I'm like, and literally, I imagine that Jim Apple is no worse than Crown Apple or Jack Apple or any of the others. But it's like, I had it warm and I'm like, no, never again. It's on my like mental. I'm like, nope, it sucks ass because I had it warm and it sucked.
I will tell you this: different strokes for different folks. Comment. I know that everyone metabolizes different sorts of alcohol in different ways, and which is why some people are like tequila. Nope, can't do it. Brown liquor. Nope, can't do it. Vodka, can't do it. You know, we all, you know, come from different backgrounds and our bodies process things differently. My thing is I cannot do bourbons. I can't do American-made whiskeys. I can't. Thankfully, I don't think. What's that?
Well, and that's corn, and it's specific corn. So, like at the base of it is likely that because that is the American bourbons typically start out with the
corn mash. Yeah,
right.
And same with. I can try and do moonshines, which are also corn mash, but I don't like the taste of it. Regardless, I will say
you shouldn't because it's mostly alcohol, no sugars.
Yeah. What I will say is that I used to say I can't do whiskey, and that's not true. I am Irish, and I can do Irish whiskey
because that's wheat.
And I am French Canadian, and I can do Canadian whiskey. It doesn't hit me the way that bourbon fucking hits me. I can't do Jim
I got you sorted out.
Yeah, I can't do fucking Jack. Nope, it'll be blackout. Fucking, I'll get mean. Like that's no fun. So yeah. So I Crown Apple is amazing, but anyhow.
Yeah, I think Crown is a blend, and they might be heavier on the wheat than the corn, so you don't have it doesn't affect you in that way. So, but yeah, that's the whole thing. It's like corn. It seems like corn is your trigger for how your body metabolizes those that alcohol into sugars in your body, and probably screws you up. But
so I will say this, Todd, you didn't miss much in the days to come, but I will say, in the days to come in Tawas, he did not miss much.
Oh, that's not true. It's not like nothing happened. It's not like we didn't have a good time.
No. I'm not.
We wished he was there.
We did, of course. Yeah. I'm saying it was.
I was happy where I was at. I didn't have any rain. It was beautiful out here.
Yeah, it's not like we had bright sunny days and it was 90 degrees.
We made the boat.
We made
the
boat. We made the boat of it.
We made the boast of it.
Yep.
Or the mest.
But I will say this.
Yeah.
He missed out on that fucking corn and potato dinner.
Corn and potato. Well, we actually had, we had one of Bob and I's college buddies was out this way. We were at a shrimp boil.
Okay.
And we had corn and potatoes. So we didn't miss out.
Did anybody try to take the leftovers and give them to homeless people?
They did not this time.
Okay, that's good. Because
those
homeless, they don't like the leftover shrimp boil stuff.
So TD, so we wanted something simple one night that right after you left, and the rain had kind of subsided, and we were able to sit down by the fire and get the wet wood going finally with a lot of accelerants, and you know, the last thing in everyone's mind was to go to the grocery store, which you threw our trip for a loop because every time we've gone up there, we hit Walmart for at least an hour and a half, and we each spend about $150 a piece and buy way too much fucking shit. And you fucking dropped this logic inadvertently on us that we don't have to do that because we had a perfect trip. None of us went without. We at the end of the trip, we weren't throwing things away, we weren't leaving stuff behind, we didn't have too much shit. That's a sidebar. But anyhow, so we were like, hey, what do we want for dinner? We had just as many hamburgers as we had bought hamburgers one night, and we had about half of them. So I think there was probably about six or seven burgers left, patties. What?
Don't know.
Yeah, something like that.
Sounds right.
And so I said, you know what? If you guys want to switch it up, if we stop at Walmart, grab some taco seasoning and tortillas. I can make it into some fucking tacos, you know?
There you go.
Nope. We don't want that. We want burgers. And I'm like, okay, no problem. But we're still going to have to go to Walmart. Lori was like, I don't want you guys going to Walmart. I'm like, yeah, we're going to have to go for something. So we ended up going. Bob and I went. And because we are the food bringers on the Tawas trips.
Are we?
You are. Yes.
We are.
You brought the barbecue.
Yeah.
All right. We didn't even talk about that. You guys brought the barbecue on a Sunday.
Ask the people in Hale, Michigan if we're the food bringers.
I went to go pick up the barbecue. I didn't make the barbecue.
So
it was very good.
So
shout out to them too.
We went to Bob said he wanted a couple things for the gas station. He wants some ice, a couple things, maybe some chips or something. I'm like,
who knew there was a black man in Hale?
He goes, I said, drop me off at the door at Walmart and then come pick me up in about 10 minutes. He's like, all right. So I got potatoes, and I was walking by, and they had a huge fucking display of just picked Michigan sweet corn. And I'm like, you know what? They may bitch about this. They may say they don't want corn, whatever. It's 50 cents a fucking ear. So I fucking bought enough corn for everybody. They were a foot and a half long. I mean, they were huge fucking ears of corn. And so I just took a stab in the dark, got the fucking corn, got a shit ton of potatoes and all the fixings for that. And we had made some bacon, got sour cream, some good butter, and we did potatoes, grilled buns, hamburgers, and Michigan sweet corn. And
sounds right.
And Bob didn't even get past the potato and like 3/4 of a hamburger. I think he's like, I'm already full. But the funniest part,
it was a whole potato.
Yeah.
I don't know if any of you have ever eaten an entire potato before, but that's a lot of food. You could eat a potato for a meal. There are entire Irish generations of families who've subsisted on one potato per day. And after that, if they're like, hey, choke down this hamburger and how about some corn? You're like, I just ate an entire potato.
So the funny thing is everyone else was able to somehow, because obviously we're much larger than Bob, eat a potato, corn, and a burger.
What did you say? You're larger than Bob?
Yeah, what the fuck?
But the funniest part about it is seeing like a new tradition or a new little niche part of Corey evolve. And this was
Hold on. Corey doesn't evolve. Corey doesn't grow or learn or change.
He doesn't typically change.
He does.
He doesn't.
It's very slow.
He doesn't typically change or evolve.
It's like the erosion on the earth.
From anyone other than himself. He has to discover it. He has to make the decision.
That is true.
He has to find the new thing.
Or some quack doctor has to tell him that frickin' chewing's better than smoking.
Yeah, that's true.
So
I love talking about it when he's not here. It's so much easier.
Exactly. Hey, Corey, your doctor's a quack.
The only reason we could get him on board was because he had told me for the longest time that he wants to wrap a potato up in foil and throw it on the fucking hot charcoal.
Yeah.
So that was the only way we can get him on board.
Because he saw Anthony Bourdain do it one time. Nobody knows how to do that shit.
It doesn't matter who he saw do it. All it matters is it was different than what we were doing.
So I said, here's your potato. I bought you some heavy-duty foil. Have at it. So he went down to the beach fire, did his little fucking potato.
And burned the shit out of it, didn't he?
Bob was throwing cigarettes on top of his potato.
I did. It doesn't matter. It doesn't look, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter how it tasted. It could have tasted like someone took a shit in a piece of tinfoil. Corey would have told you it was the greatest thing he's ever eaten.
Best potato he's ever had.
Absolutely. Yeah. Until you actually tasted it and said, hey, Corey, this tastes like shit. He goes,
none of us were going to taste it.
Corey's the best backtracker ever.
And none of us really cared how it tasted. Because we all knew that it would have been officially labeled as the best potato Corey had ever eaten.
I told Bob, I said, so at the last minute we discovered that Bob's cottage had a full-size, like huge, giant charcoal grill, a fucking table. He had fucking cookie sheets, all this shit that the first night we didn't fucking know about. So I'm like, I'm cooking.
If you had stuck around, Todd, would have been no problem.
I'm like, I'm cooking on that fucking grill. So we did
you ignored me the whole time I was there, Nick.
Yeah, that's what I did.
I was only there 31 hours. You spent like 31 seconds.
It was hard for you.
A couple shots.
It was hard for you to. It was hard for you to talk with all that fucking freezing cold crown going down your fucking throat. Yeah,
exactly.
I saw that coming.
So you were just trying to inebriate me so you could take advantage of me.
Listen, I looked at Todd at one point, and it looked like a man that just had a baker's dozen of chocolate chip cookies that were freshly made, and he was drinking milk. Like he was gulping. I heard gulping noises coming from the Crown bottle. He's like,
you heard him like gasping for air.
What
like,
the fuck?
There's so much Crown. I need to somehow squeak a bubble of air.
He's like, it's so good. I'm like, okay. So anyhow, right. So I told Bob that night. I said, this potato that Corey's doing on the fire, because it was his idea.
Back to the potato.
I said it could have 1.5 inches of carbon around that fucking potato.
Yeah,
and it could have one tablespoon full of potato meat,
mushy potato,
and he'd be like, that was the fucking best potato I've ever fucking had. I've never fucking had a potato that good. That was the best
1,000%.
Yeah. So
God himself jizzed on my tongue, and I got to
God.
swallow it. It was amazing.
Reached down from the heavens and placed this potato right into his hands. Yeah. And so while he kicked around this potato with like an old fucking piece of driftwood, and Bob was throwing cigarettes on it, we were making a real civilized meal up on the fucking grill.
Yeah.
So
that's awesome.
After everything came, I soaked the corn. I fucking ended up fucking charring the corn. I pulled off all the husk and everything, and gave him a big fucking hobbing stick of butter, like sweet cream butter that they could put the corn on top. And listen. Corey's like,
sweet cream, not that sour cream.
Listen, Corey's like, all right, so next time, if we could. He ended up taking Bob's corn because Bob didn't eat it, so he ate. So now he's super excited. So it's all like Corey-centric. It goes back to Corey because you'd think like, oh, I introduced something new, Michigan sweet corn to Corey. No. You didn't introduce anything new to him. The problem is that Corey for about 8 months could not eat anything like corn because he had all his teeth replaced. Yeah. Right. So now he can. So now it's back to, well, I can eat this now. So now I'm excited about being able to eat this and not your fucking stupid corn that you didn't make. So he ends up eating 2 ears of corn, a potato, and a burger. And he's like, oh, man, I think next time, I think we just have a potato and corn night. We just do potato, no dinner, just potato and corn. And I'm like, that sounds good to me.
This makes
Corey. Why isn't Corey on camera? That sounds just like him.
This may come as a shock to you, Todd, but Corey did, in fact, try to grab that potato in the fire with his bare hands at some point.
Oh, no.
Yeah, he did.
Oh, no.
And then,
I was going to ask you brought an UV glove or some sort of...
No.
That was the first thought. I hope they got an UV glove.
No, in fact, right before that, I was talking to Danielle, and she said, I hope he's going to go get a glove. And less than 3 minutes later, Corey grabbed it with his bare hand and then exclaimed to no one in particular, Jesus, that's hot. As if it,
well, he did.
He was counting on it being just sort of lukewarm.
He actually called upon the name of the Lord.
Like a Neanderthal first discovering fire?
Yep. And did he go get a glove at that point? No. His better half did. And that's why Corey's going to live forever.
No, actually, I looked at Danielle and I said, hey, in our cottage, we have like a foot-long tongs that he could use. I said, but he just fucking insulted me on something he said, so I'm not going to tell him about those tongs.
Since we got no listeners, I just had a brilliant idea.
Hey, hold on. We've got hundreds of thousands of listeners.
Since we got no listeners, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to send Danielle away on 3 vacations a year for a week that I pay for and see if we can see Corey actually digress. Like, I think he might be back to, like, freaking Homo sapien.
Like caveman
status? Exactly. Like, in, 3 months.
Why would I pee in the house when I could just rub my schwanz with fucking poison ivy?
Exactly. Like, he might regress in 3 weeks every year back to Cro-Magnon in a month.
All right, fellas, we have hit the end of the episode here. So, guys, thanks for sticking with us. Thanks for tuning in. We're going to take a little bit of a break. We're going to stop the broadcast right now. If you're listening to the audio version of the podcast, this is going to be the end of the episode. But in real time, in reality, we're going to take a break for about 10 or 15 minutes, and we're going to come back. We're going to go live again.
Why?
So if you're listening to the because God damn it, the people are requesting it.
That's what we're going to do.
That's right. So stick with us. If you're listening to the audio, go listen to the next episode. We'll see you next time. On behalf of Corey and Nick and Todd. Had to call Corey in.
And Bob.
Yep. This is Bob. We'll see you next time.